I went looking for other books that have been translated from Japanese since I rather liked both of the ones that I read recently, and decided to start with this short story collection. It's called The Lonesome Bodybuilder, Stories by Yukiko Motoya. So, the original summary of this collection that made me pick it up in the first place described it as a collection of stories where people look past the boundaries of their ordinary lives and jobs in order to see like the extraordinary and like alien, which somehow changes the way they look at things. I think it would be more accurate to describe it as a collection that examines people's relationships using elements of the surreal and the bizarre. So, as an example, in the title story, it's about a woman who discovers that she's might really like the fighter's physique, and she decides that she wants to become a bodybuilder, which is like a really unusual decision for a woman of her age, and also just for her in general, since in the past she's always been like a very quiet and reserved kind of person. But once she makes this decision, she really commits to it. Like she goes all out, and like as she begins to change, like it also begins to change her relationship like with her coworkers and the way that she looks at herself and some of the decisions that she's made in the past. But a major reoccurring part of this particular story is her relationship with her husband. Like it was when she was watching TV with him at the beginning that she first takes an interest in bodybuilding, but like throughout the story, even as her body begins to go through all these really major, really obvious changes, like he keeps failing to notice, and this is for obvious reasons like a major point of contention. And the story looks at how this entire thing kind of changes her life, I guess. So another story, which is probably my favorite in the collection, also focuses on a husband and wife. Like the narrator begins by talking about how she feels like she's beginning to look more and more like her husband, and she means this in a really literal way, as in like look in the mirror and feels like she sees her husband or can't tell herself from her husband apart kind of way. And as she like shares this with other people, like she discovers that she's not in fact the first woman who has felt this way. Like she has an acquaintance who tells her all about how, oh yeah, like she also had this period of time where she was starting to resemble her husband, and like she took all these steps to change that so that now she looks like herself again. And to compound this weirdness, the narrator goes on to describe how these days she's noticed that her husband's features like will drift out of alignment, I guess, when he's not paying attention. Like when he's relaxed and watching TV, his mouth will move down towards his chin and his eyes will like move to the sides of his face, so that like she's starting to wonder if maybe she married a monster and not a human being. But at the same time, like she's pretty comfortable in her current life, and maybe kind of lacks the motivation or the courage and stuff to make any changes, even though all of these things kind of freak her out at the beginning. Like it's amazing what people can get used to like over time. But the story follows like her relationship with her husband as things get increasingly bizarre. So let's see, some other stories that stood out, or I guess relationship wise, another one that jumps out in my head was like this one on the woman who married a straw person. Like I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a scarecrow or not, it just refers to him as her straw husband, and it treats this like it's a perfectly normal thing, and how people objected but she's really happy, and the story like goes with her through one day and like the one argument they had. And yeah, it was really weird. Like I don't even know how to describe it. So what I liked about this collection, I really liked the like bizarre, weird elements. Like not all of them were on relationships, although a large majority of them were, but there were a few other ones too. For instance, there's these like just kind of whimsical, fun things, like this story on people who can fly with umbrellas in a storm, or this story about this woman who worked in a clothing boutique who goes to like these extraordinary lengths to try to help this one customer who goes into the fitting room and refuses to come out for like more than a day, figure out what she can buy that will suit her. So, things like that I think were kind of entertaining, just to see what the author was going to come up with. But something I did not like, since I was kind of expecting something more fun and whimsical, it bothered me that sprinkled throughout a lot of these stories were just these moments of what felt to me like random, like extreme acts of violence. Like you had this dog killing a smaller dog without meaning to, or this person talking about abandoning her cat in the wild just because people were complaining about it, or like this man being found flattened on the road, or these people beating each other to death, like for reasons that I still don't entirely understand. Like, I'm not really sure what purpose these acts of brutality were supposed to serve, but I really could have done without them. Like, I found them very jarring, especially like juxtaposed with everything else that was going on in these stories.